Hey, Donnie, how you doing? Let's go ahead and take a look. I've got your post up right here. I just want to pull that apart and just there we go. Fit everything in the window beautifully. Okay, so I want to start out by mentioning the importance of taking a look at the course announcements, specifically welcome to week 2. These are all 4 of these announcements right here have a lot of resources regarding letter spacing and kerning, and plenty of tips, tricks, examples, video tutorials, etc. Specifically, week 2 has some resources. There's actually 4 videos in there. I want you to take a look at all 4 of those. One of those videos shows you how to kern, kind of make this transition between this manual kerning that we've been practicing and how to kern on the computer. So be sure to take a look at that. This file right here is from that one of those videos, the how to kern fire and ice. And this to me is an example of perfect letter spacing and kerning for this phrase. So we'll use that to compare with your work. Sound good? Okay, so the first thing we see is that your letter forms are just beautiful, just beautiful. I think we have some issues in the serifs. A little bit at the bottom is that these are kind of bulky and blocky, whereas these are really streamlined and tapered beautifully into those bracketed serifs. So you want to watch that. Generally, you just want to really, really give a great depiction of these letter forms. Excuse me, one second. As they as they are related to the actual letter forms from the document. So craft, right? Okay, your letter spacing I think is really fantastic with a couple of exceptions. Okay, fire is kerned beautifully with 2 exceptions. The area between the cap F and the lowercase I, that can be pulled in a little bit, as we can see. You want to reduce that space a little bit. And then this space right here is almost perfect. It's hard to say because that curve isn't depicted as accurately as it is shown in the actual letter form. So it's difficult to say if that needs to be moved in or not because there's a little bit of extra surface area right there. So I think if this had the curve that we're looking for here, I think this would be kerned perfectly. But right now it seems to be a little bit of extra space, and the reason being is because that area right there isn't as round as it is up here, as we can see. Okay. Now the word "and" I think is kerned perfectly. Good job there. And then ice is kerned. The space between the I and the C is a little bit narrow. The space between the C and the E is a little bit wide. So you want to make those adjustments as you move into your final iteration. I think you're depicting overshoot pretty well. There's a couple of areas where we're not seeing overshoot. There's a couple of areas where we are. Okay, we're seeing a little bit here. We're definitely seeing overshoot here on the D, but we're not seeing it on the E, the C, or the E. Overshoot, of course, is where the curved letter forms extend above the mean line and below the cap line, below the baseline for lowercase letters, and curved letter forms fall below the baseline and above the cap line for cap letters that are curved. So as we can see right here, there's overshoot there. Overshoot's covered in week 2, but if you want more information on overshoot, feel free to Google typographic overshoot. It'll give you a great description of what we're shooting for there. So you want to depict overshoot, fix up your kerning in those areas I mentioned. And the only other thing I recommend is watch your letter spacing, specifically between the word fire and the word and. The reason being is that's a problematic area. That's a problem area, and the reason being is because it's got these open counters in the lowercase e and in the the lowercase a. So that adds surface area, which creates an illusion that this space is greater than it really is. We can accommodate that by pulling and a little bit closer to fire. And I think this spacing right here is perfect, but we move that a little bit so that we read this as fire and ice, not pausing for the extra space here, reading fire and ice. Okay, so those are my recommendations and just a couple of minor adjustments. But other than that, I think you're doing a really fantastic job. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. All right, great. Thank you very much.